Hi, everybody. Matt Croyle here, Festival Director. Thank you for attending and watching the 2020 Oil Valley Film Festival. It is my privilege to take a few minutes here and sit down with D.B. Sweeney, who created the hilarious short film Two Dumb Mix, starring himself and I guess a little known actor by the name of Sean Astin. Welcome, D.B. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of the festival this year.
Thank you. Thanks for playing the movie. You know, we just wanted to make people laugh a little bit during these anxious times.
Yes, yes. No, it's absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed it. For the folks watching really quick, we know you from kind of, I guess, a plethora of rather prolific roles in your career, from the early days of Shoeless Joe Jackson in Eight Men Out to Doug Dorsey in The Cutting Edge to some really, I think, amazing turns in a quite extensive television career. How did you get mixed up with this Astin character? Like, how did you meet Sean? Where did you meet Sean? And like, what made you guys really kind of want to make this little hilarious project together? Because I adore it. I think it's great.
Oh, thank you so much. Sean and I met in 1989 in London, England, in pre-production for a movie called Memphis Belle. And Sean and I were both, you know, really gung-ho and motivated, and some of the other actors that were there were sort of like, you know, a little more laid back about it. So he and I just sort of bonded in our enthusiasm for B-17s and action movies and just, you know, hanging out and being in a foreign country and getting paid to be there. And, you know, so we just became good friends. And I always figured, you know, I was pretty new in the business still. I'd only been working as an actor. I've been working as an actor for about 6 or 7 years, but only in films for maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
So before that, I was mostly doing theater and a little TV stuff here and there. But anyway, I didn't know how it really worked in terms of, you know, these people that have 20 or 30-year careers. I hoped I would have one, but I assumed that if I was going to have one, that of course I'd work with Sean Astin again, or I'd work with, you know, Robert Duvall. I just finished working with him. You know,
right.
When you have these great people, you think, wow, I'm going to do another one with them someday. And it just never worked out with Sean, which for, you know, whatever reasons. I mean, he's doing his movies, I'm doing my movies.
Yeah.
We're both busy. So I'd bump into him from time to time, and I always enjoyed seeing him. And I just thought, well, I want to work with this guy again. So finally, I just thought, after 30 years, I better put pen to paper and make it happen myself.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. Yeah, it's funny because you can see there is a chemistry there between you two that kind of translates to the screen, especially having not worked together in so long. Just you can see it on camera, and it's really interesting. Are you staying safe and busy? I mean, I know you're a dad. Obviously, that keeps you busy enough. Work-wise, right now in this kind of strange time, tell me what that's like, if you can.
Well, I mean, this is the longest stretch of my 35-year career where I've you know, gone 6 months without working. I've been very blessed in that something always comes up, or I've got something of my own that's going. But, you know, the union, Screen Actors Guild, basically said you can't work. So, you know, for a lot of good reasons and some not so good reasons, the whole business has been shut down. So it's just now coming back to life, and I'm looking forward to, you know, getting back to work and hopefully doing more of these. I mean, this movie started out as just a way to short film to work with Sean and have fun. And
right.
The reaction's been so great that now we're trying to figure out a way to do either more of these short film episodes, or maybe do it as a TV pilot, or blow it out to a movie. We don't know, but, you know, we're trying to keep the ball rolling. And so thank you to you. And, you know, the film festival world has been great to us because, you know, it's a way to keep the conversation going. It's a way to draw attention to it. And we've gotten some wonderful recognition, and all that is really, really helpful. So I'm really grateful.
I appreciate that as well. There's got to be tons of hilarious outtakes from this thing, which I hope still exists somewhere, that maybe you would want to put that out for people to watch, because I think it would be absolutely hilarious to see.
Well, Sean is just a genius. I mean, when he gets hit, I don't know if people will have already seen this or not, so I guess a spoiler alert, but when he gets crapped on at the end of the movie, him operating the mechanical goose and crapping on his own face should probably go down with every other highlight of his career in cinema history.
So any upcoming projects maybe you could talk about, maybe not talk about?
Yeah, I did a film earlier. Well, actually, it's over a year ago, called Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre, which is a wrestling movie that morphs into a zombie movie. So it's pretty much everything you need.
Well, that sounds fun.
That and water you could pretty much survive on, I think. Max Martini directed it. It was written by two guys, Chris Margitis and Mike Carey, who both used to be low-level professional wrestlers. So it's really interesting. And
wow.
So they play the Manson brothers, these wrestlers who are trying to make a comeback, and they need to get pumped up real fast. So they take steroids, but they're tainted. They're from China, Chinese steroids, and they turn into zombies. And then all the wrestlers are eating all the fans, and it's great.
Yeah, that sounds like something that I would actually enjoy. I would probably. I just love the kind of the classic horror genre anyway. So to have kind of a mashup like that would be absolutely hilarious and awesome.
They used to have those kind of midnight movies all the time, that movies would be made specifically for that kind of, maybe you've imbibed a little bit or you puffed on something and
right
around midnight, and it's a different kind of movie that you want.
Right.
Those movies.
So on the directing end of things, is there anything holding you back, or maybe have you kind of looked at maybe going towards more of that angle with your career as we progress and keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, I love directing. I'm not such a big fan of directing myself. I did it in this case because I was the best director available, and I did it when I directed my comedy feature, Two Tickets to Paradise.
Yes.
I was never the first choice in either case, because I always feel like acting and directing are sort of two different mindsets.
It's a very hard thing to do, yes.
Yeah, and directing is very intellectual, and it's almost like, it's a kind of a weak analogy, but it does work to a certain extent. When you're an actor, you have to be like a child, and you play and you mess around and you try to get away with things. And when you're the director, you have to kind of be like the dad or the mom and say, hey, all right, let's go. Time to eat your vitamins.
Definitely two different hats. Yes, I agree.
And so it's tough when you're being those. It's a little psychotic to be the child and the father at the same time.
At the same time, exactly. No, man, I really, really do appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today, and talk about this. Like, how long did it take you guys to shoot this little thing?
It was about a day and a half.
Yeah.
The hard part is doing the prep, and we shot it very guerrilla style because Sean lives in LA and he wanted to shoot it there. I have a lot more connections here in Chicago where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have had a lot more resources here, but he wanted to do it there. So that's great. But I didn't want to go through all the permits and protocols and everything. So pretty much just kind of cowboyed the whole thing. And, I actually, when you write something down like geese do this or geese do that, I figured, well, you hire a goose trainer and they teach them how to do it. But
right.
They're not trainable, apparently. I actually had a goose, an animal trainer, a very well-respected guy, say, you need him to do what? And I said, yeah, just chase after us and stuff. And he said, okay, well, I can train 3 geese for you. It'll be $10,000, but they probably won't do it. I was like, well, I can do as good as that. I'll just go to the park and try to get them to do what I want them to do. So,
right.
And I also feel like I'm not a big fan of, I love being on big movies if somebody's paying me and, to have all the luxuries and amenities. But generally speaking,
right.
I really like a small crew. I come from like the off-Broadway theater type mentality where, everybody's working to put the show on. And I feel like when you have 100 people and 85 of them are standing around and 15 of them are doing everything,
right.
the energy of those 85 people is a drag on the 15 people that are actually doing stuff. So I'm a big fan of the small crew.
Of a small crew, skeleton crew. I'm very much the same way. Yeah.
It's fun to have like 3 different kinds of people bring you cappuccino. That's great.
Sure.
But it's a lot of waste. So I really do like the Gonzo, John Cassavetes, get the friends and family. And, that to me, that's where it's really fun. And you really end up with something that's personal.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Well, thank you so much. If you have anything to say to anybody out there watching the film today, what would you want to give them a shout out about?
Well, I know a lot of people get exposed to different kinds of movies at film festivals, and a lot of people are aspiring writers or directors or actors. And I would just say throw away the word aspiring. Just go act, go write, direct. You make a movie on your phone now, just go do it. And sometimes you call up people like old graybeards like me and say, hey, I'm making this movie and I got a great part for you. And, obviously you're not going to call me directly, but, reach out. Like, I wrote a Western and one of my heroes is Bruce Dern, and I reached out to him and he's agreed to do it when we eventually get the money together and everything. So, that's kind of a dream come true for me. So, I would just say, swing for the fences. If anybody's trying to be a filmmaker, be a filmmaker.